Good morning. Thursday morning, June 24th. I want to welcome each of you this morning. Janisa, good morning. First name I see this morning. Welcome. Let's wait for a couple of more names to come through. Alyssa Tucker, happy Thursday to you. Good morning, everyone. Jeremy and Wendy, welcome to you this morning. There's my mom. Good morning to you. Welcome, everyone. Jan Akins, good morning. Tuning in from Shaver Lake. Good to see you this morning. We're waiting for a couple more names to come in. We are in Psalm 144 this morning. Janice Favre, good morning to you. Psalm 144. I'm going to jump around a little bit in this psalm. Daryl and Suzanne, good morning to you. Good to see you this morning. We'll wait for maybe one or two more. We're at 10 viewers right now. I think we started at 11 yesterday. We'll see if another one jumps in this morning while I get my Bible out. There we go. There's number 11. Who is it? If a name. Sometimes the numbers, well, oftentimes the numbers increase, but the names that flash on my screen don't for whatever reason. Dana Kreshock, there you are. Good morning. And Sally Crocker, good morning. Debbie King, good morning. Carmen Lego. Wow, a bunch of people are jumping in now. And I want to shout out to a couple more people that I know watch this. Hey, Jim and Kathy, good to see you. I try to acknowledge this, that, you know, most people watch this after 7. And so thank you all for that. I think of Matthew and Sheila Hooper, Jackie Mosier, Sierra Para and the kids. Deanne Fine, good morning. I see you. Forgive me, there's others. Jeff Cranfield, I know you watch later in the day. Try to give another few shout outs. There are others who you tell me once in a while that, hey, I catch your live stream, and so I really appreciate that. It's really humbling that people take the time to tune into this, and so it's a real blessing to me as well. Thank you. So Psalm 144. I'm going to start from the end of this psalm. I'm going to work my way backwards, and because David finishes this psalm, which is really the theme of the psalm. This is why I'm starting here with the very last verse. I'm going to read it, verse 15, which David says, "Blessed are the people to whom such blessings fall. Blessed are the people whose God is the Lord." So, hey, Jeff Cranfield, you're actually here right now. That's funny that I mentioned your name. So yeah, David is penning this psalm because he is observing all of the blessings of God. Blessed are the people to whom such blessings fall. So what blessings is he talking about? There are 3 categories of blessing that he mentions in this psalm. We could probably make more up, but I'm going to generalize with basically 3. Number 1 is victory in warfare, or protection from on the battlefield. Strength, I'll say that. So he starts with strength on the battlefield, and look at how he says this. "Blessed be the God, my rock, who trains my hands for war." This is verse 1. God trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle. He is my steadfast love and my fortress, my stronghold, my deliverer, my shield. So God himself is the very armor and strength. I think it's Psalm 118. I can't remember. Psalm 18 or Psalm 118. where David says, you make my feet firm on the battlefield and you give me the strength to bend the bow of bronze. I've always loved these images because though David constantly gives God credit as the source of his strength and the source of victory in his life, he still has to go out on the battlefield. He has to go bend the bow of bronze. His hands have to engage in the battle. And I've talked about that before, and I've obviously thought about it a lot. But God is God is blessing us so much. What are the blessings? Number one is strength. He's given me strength to go out there and you've trained my hands for war. You've given me strength. You are my fortress. You are my shield. God, you are the source of anything I can possibly do. That's the first major blessing. The second major blessing is the actual victory itself. You protect me from my enemies. You give me victory over those who would want to see my demise, who would want to see my downfall. God, you alone gave me the victory. Now, every king goes into battle with a plan, a strategy that hopefully is not foolish, that's wise. But Israel, by the nature of them being a fairly small nation among other larger nations, was given victory oftentimes despite their inferiority. They didn't have the same amount of horses. They didn't have the same amount of soldiers. They didn't have the same amount of chariots. They were usually undergunned when they would go into battle, and yet they would have victory. And so he gives God credit. He says, and he calls for him to help him. And let's see. Bow your heavens, O Lord, and come down. Touch the mountains so that they smoke. Flash forth the lightning and scatter them, that is the enemies. Stretch out your hand on high. Rescue me. Deliver me from many waters, from the hand of foreigners whose mouths speak lies, whose right hand is the right hand of falsehood. So he gives, rescue me, deliver me from the land of foreigners, or the hand of foreigners, and so on. So he credits God with victory. And the third major category, blessed, look at all these blessings that we have, is in our prosperity. He says, may our sons in their youth be like plants full grown, our daughters like corner pillars cut for the structure of a palace. May our granaries be full, providing all kinds of produce. May our sheep bring forth thousands and 10,000s in our fields. May our cattle be heavy with young, suffering no mishap or failure in bearing. And may there be no cry of distress in our streets. And so these three categories, personal strength, victory over enemies, and prosperity. Blessed, he concludes, blessed are the people to whom such blessings fall. Blessed are the people whose God is the Lord. And so that's kind of how the psalm is laid out. And there's one verse that I haven't read yet that I want to wrap up our time together with. And because sometimes, how is this relevant to me? I'm not a king. I'm not going out on the battlefield. I don't have armies that are trying to oppose me. I do kind of like the verses that talk about, may my kids prosper and all of my possessions be multiplied. That's kind of cool. I would like that to apply to my life, right? But the reality is all of these things are day-to-day strength to do what God's called us to do today. Those calamities that could come against us, that God protects us from, that we don't even know about half the time, and the prosperity that we do experience in a variety of ways, if we have eyes to see, are all attributed to the Lord. And here's the point that I want to make. I'm rounding this out to the one verse I didn't read. All of it is because of the generosity of God, not because I am deserving or have merited such favor. So there's two verses that I'm going to read. David's recounted all of these blessings, and he says this, I don't deserve it. Look at verse 3. He says, O Lord, what is man that you regard him, or the son of man that you think of him? Man is like a breath. His days are like a passing shadow. And the unspoken contrast is, we're a breath. We're transient. We are weak. But God, by contrast, is eternal. He is the source of all strength. He is the source of all prosperity. So God is not giving us all of these things, these blessings, as if he's striking some sort of treaty with a peer. So often when covenants are struck, a treaty is struck, there are gifts that are exchanged to give weight and commitment to that covenant or treaty. And the kind of covenant God gives us, and the tribute, if I can use these words, of a lesser country usually gives tribute to a greater country in exchange for that greater country's protection. And here God is giving blessing, and if I could use that word tribute, that's not what David uses, but I'm just borrowing language of treaties and covenants. He is doing all of the work, and we're doing nothing. We're just the recipients of blessing. I think about the covenant that God made with Abraham, what we call an unconditional covenant. When God had Abraham take animals and sacrifice them, cut up them in two pieces, and lay them opposite each other. And the point was, this was a very common way of creating treaties between two peers, two equals. They would make the decision to covenant together, and they would walk together through those two halves of the animals. And by saying that, they're saying, may whatever has happened to these animals happen to me if I break this covenant. And we know when God made his covenant with Abraham, and I'm thinking this is Genesis 15, I think right in there, this happens. Only God walks through the midst of these sacrificed animals. Abraham is asleep at this point, and God is not dependent on us. He's not dependent on our ability to recompense for the amount of blessing that he is about to bestow on his people, the covenant that he is making. He's making a covenant according to his own name's sake. We read that yesterday in Psalm 23, that God does these things for his own name's sake. And this is the kind of covenant blessing. So I love this language because when I think about all the good things God does in my life, I think, what is man that you regard him? The Son of Man that you think of him. We're just a breath. We're a shadow. We don't deserve all this. Yet, this is exactly the kind of love God displays toward us every single day. Yesterday, I talked about appropriating truth to my day. The reality of the care that God gives me as my good shepherd, who watches over me, who makes me lie down in green pastures, lays me behind, allows me to drink still waters. We talked about that yesterday. How do I appropriate that truth, the reality of that, in my life? God is the source of my strength. God is the source of my blessing. It's not that I deserve it, which actually takes a big weight off my shoulders. Because I'll just be transparent toward the end. At the end of this, we're already several minutes into this. This week has been a kind of a hard week for me emotionally. I just have had a lot of conflict inwardly in my emotions, and I'm trying to think, why am I having this? Because I'm not really having a hard week circumstantially. And where is this conflict coming from? And so when that happens, I try to speak objective truth to that, like, hey, there's nothing in my life that I really should worry about. I attempt to appropriate the truth of God, that he is my shepherd, that he is leading me, that I can walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I can be seated when my enemies are encamped against me, seated at a table, and I'm receiving God's favor. This is, again, drawing from yesterday's truth and applying it to this inward conflict. Circumstantially, I know the truth. I shouldn't feel this inward conflict, but I am. And as I examined it further, I realized that the inner conflict I was having was more related to my own emotional insecurities. We're about to make a really big decision with regard to the worship leader, Jonathan Cassis, and I get this feeling in my gut. It's like, yeah, this is a big decision. We're about to tip over a bunch of dominoes here. Make sure we're doing the right thing. And I feel confident. Again, I go back to the circumstances. Like, yeah, I feel really confident about this. I feel good. Everything seems to be, there's no objective reason why I should be feeling this inward conflict. Yet it really has to do with the unknown, the things we don't know. And my inward emotions can, and you may relate to this, can begin to catastrophize a little bit about the future, what could go wrong, and you don't really have any evidence that it will, but your mind starts to go there, and you have to kind of speak truth to that, and it's just because of the unknown. So in an unhealthy way, I would normally, I have a history of, to combat this inner conflict, I just want to feel better. I don't like what I feel, so I want to feel better. So I've said this before, I numb out, I withdraw, I eat very rich food because that makes me feel better. You know, I'll eat a bunch of ice cream, or last night I had a ribeye steak. It was so good. I didn't do it, I wasn't emotionally eating last night. Jeremy and I we hung out last night, and we had really, really good steak that I barbecued. And but that would be my unhealthy way of dealing with this inner conflict. But I was appropriating truth of Jesus yesterday and saying, it's okay that I am a flawed, weak person. I'm going to feel this way sometimes. I wish appropriating truth just made the feeling go away, but for now, I just was content. I practiced contentment with the fact that I was just going to feel these things, and that's okay. It's okay to feel uncomfortable. It's okay to feel these things. And I spoke compassion to myself and non-judgment. You know, you don't have, this is another thing I would do in my catastrophizing. Well, you don't even have faith. You should have more faith in this. Like, know what? It's okay. God has given me all these blessings. He's doing these great things, but I feel weak, and that's okay. I feel like that's kind of an underlying current of David's Psalms. It's like, yeah, I'm going to the battlefield. Yeah, you are going to give me the victory. Yeah, we have all these blessings, but I still feel the reality that I'm just a man. I'm just a shadow. I'm experiencing anguish or conflict or anxiety or grief or whatever. I'm going to feel these things, and I'm trying to grow in being comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. And that's what it looks like for me. That's what it looked like for me yesterday. And so instead of reaching out to those unhealthy things, I try to move forward to engage with people, read the scriptures, allow the discomfort not to unsettle me, but just feel it. And I got through it. I'm alive. I'm still here. You know, it didn't kill me to feel those things, though I didn't like feeling them. So it's a part of our growth as we trust in the Lord. Blessed are the people, as David ends this psalm. Blessed are the people whose God is the Lord. And that's where our strength lies. That's where the blessing lies. It's not about us. We are reminded daily that we are just weak. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay. And we're going to move forward and trust God, because that's the life God has called us. That's the life God's called David to, and everyone else. So we're going to walk in that and trust Him. So that's the thought for today, and hopefully that'll carry through the weekend. We'll see you on Sunday. We have our those of you who are members of Grace and attenders, come early to that 9 a.m. hour. We're going to have our congregational meeting to vote on our potential worship leader, and we're going to have discussion, and you can ask questions, and you know, it's going to be a good time together. We're going to have donuts. Marcy Walters is going to not make donuts. She's going to buy donuts for us. That's another person who watches very regularly is Marcy. So Marcy, I want to give a shout out to you as well. And so anyway, we'll see you on Sunday.